Hello and welcome once again to that Superconnectivity place. Oh, I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the man personally responsible for the success or failure of Krypton on Sci-Fi.
Untrue. Phil, this is Phil and Perich.
Oh, you're not personally responsible? Okay. Yeah. Lilith is, she's not happy that NBC is going to have another whack at another DC property. I haven't finished watching it yet. I'm going to finish watching it tonight so we can talk about it tomorrow on Capes and Lunatics. So make sure you tune in tomorrow morning or later on YouTube, friends and neighbors, to find out what we all really thought of Krypton Episode 1, Season 1. In the short run, I can say, go Tigers.
Yeah.
And that's right there. That was enough for me. That's all I ever want from a show is just a good reference to the Detroit Tigers. And then it's like, okay, it's a good show. They had the Tigers. That's why I loved Magnum PI, because the Tigers. Go Tigers. Okay. Anyway, so Phil, anything you'd like to talk about this week?
Well, you kind of came up with our list. Do you want to get into the trailers? I do want to talk about the Deadpool 2 trailer.
Okay, well, let's open with Deadpool 2, because that is delightful. We get to see Cable as the antagonist of our film, and that is an interesting choice. Terry Crews has finally gotten into a Marvel movie. Granted, it's a Fox Marvel movie, but it's the best one. So, when you're weighing those things, it's like, well, it's a Fox Marvel movie. It's sort of like that yay boo. It's like, Terry Crews, you're going to be in a Marvel movie. Yay! But it's a Fox Marvel movie. Oh. No. But it's Deadpool. Yay! So that's the roller coaster that is Terry Crews' career. But he's playing a character called Bedlam, which, Phil, you're a resident mutologist. What can you tell us about Bedlam?
Not one of the bigger names, but I've been trying to rack my brain about who Bedlam is. The name is ringing a bell, but I'm just.
That's okay. You know what? Here's what I'll tell you. Sometimes I find that whenever they get to use an obscure character, they usually do so much better with it. Because they're not bound by whatever the history and canon of that character is. They get to really go in a new route. And I don't know how important Terry Crews' character is going to be in the story. I don't know if he's going to die almost immediately, as sometimes happens. But I'm excited for Terry Crews, and I'm excited for Deadpool 2. It does look good. And like I said, apparently Cable is the villain of our piece.
I was going to say, I brought up Bedlam on Wikipedia. It was refreshing my memory a little bit, but the whole Cable thing, before we get into that, I just wonder if it's going to be a trick, like a twist in the plot where either A, it's Strife for part of the time and not Cable, and that's why Cable appears to be the bad guy, or the kid that, I don't know if they would go this dark, but the kid Cable wants to kill. I mean, remember, Cable's a time traveler. Maybe this kid grows up to be like the next Hitler. Yeah.
Well, they had suggested that the kid could be Ethan.
Oh yeah,
Apocalypse. Yeah. Yes, and I think he looks a little apocalypsy. So I am totally down with that. Now it'll be interesting if he is Apocalypse, because we just had Apocalypse in the other X-Men franchise, and these are theoretically all in the same universe. So. Who is this clone? Or, is this something from Mr. Sinister? I mean, obviously, if Cable is coming after the kid is obviously somehow related to something evil.
Yeah.
But the idea of Deadpool raising this child to not be evil is its own interesting thing.
I mean, the Apocalypse movie was set in the 80s. So, I mean, this could be a way that Apocalypse maybe resurrects himself every couple of decades or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw Apocalypse doing that thing in there where it's like changing bodies and gaining powers. Because sure, why not?
But I know.
Yeah.
I did look on Wikipedia to refresh myself. Bedlam is a fictional character, mutant superhero, Marvel Comics, blah, blah, blah. He originally possessed the mutant ability to create and project a bio-EM field. This has an effect of temporarily disabling any similarly powered technology in the vicinity. He can also utilize his power to scan the environment for other pre-existing energy fields. After the High Evolutionary reset the mutant genome in every mutant on the planet, his abilities expanded to be able to affect the human brain's neural chemistry, thus allowing him to project the illusion of pain and confusion into other people.
Well, that's cool. So he got a power upgrade. Cool. Good for Bedlam. We'll see what he has. We'll see what he has here. If he just can knock out technology, or if he can knock out human brains and such.
I love what I saw. I love what I saw online. You know, the part where Deadpool crosses his arms and goes, "We'll call ourselves X-Force." I love they're like, "Oh, look, Black Panther is so popular. Even Deadpool's getting on the Wakanda Forever train."
Yes, Wakanda Forever. I mean, it looks good. It looks interesting. It does look like it has that delightful Deadpool flair. We're gonna have to see where it goes. We're gonna have to see if it continues to be awesome or if it becomes lame suddenly. Anything is possible with these kinds of shows. But I, for one, am excited by it, and I liked what we saw. I like we got this really neat cast of characters supporting Deadpool. Still waiting for someone to mention Deadpool's excellent bone structure. You know. You're not that ugly, Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. You're never going to be ugly, Ryan. You're never going to be ugly.
They listen to our podcast. I'm just waiting for someone to be like, "Wait, this figure, you got like a bad rash or something, dude."
Yeah, I mean, he's got he's got a little bit of pizza face. Needs a little Oxy-10. A little bit of concealer and he'll be fine. He's like, he's not a 10 anymore. Now he's like, maybe like a 5. So, okay, yeah, you're a 5, Deadpool. You're horribly disfigured.
He's a butterface now.
Yeah, well, you know what? Because he's still better looking than the guy who plays Weasel.
I'm just saying, he's all jacked and muscled. Just like a little problem with the face.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a skin condition. Like, first world problems. Speaking of first world problems, well, we can get to that in a minute. Let's because I want to talk about my first world problem, which is the fact that the sci-fi app through Kindle doesn't have Krypton on it. The sci-fi app through my phone does, so I can watch Krypton tonight on my phone, but I can't watch it on my Fire TV. And to me, the reason why is because Amazon will sell me Krypton for $2.99. Why would I pay for it when I can get it for free?
That's weird.
Well, it's not that weird because here's what I'm going to tell you. This goes into another topic I wanted to talk about, which is YouTube Red and the upcoming series Cobra Kai. Which does look great and looks like it's the kind of the look of that series is the kind of thing that might actually make me want to go to YouTube Red. But here's the thing. You can't play YouTube on a Kindle. You can't there's not an Amazon app for YouTube. And this is this interesting thing. People talk about net neutrality, but nobody ever actually talks about device compatibility.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about it because it's so ingrained that, you can get an Apple which is non-compatible, or you can get something that's, Windows-based that is compatible and can be cross-compatible. But really, Amazon does the same thing that Apple does. They make proprietary technology. The difference between Amazon and Apple is that Amazon was smart and said, we'll just make our proprietary technology cheaper so everyone goes to it. And then we don't need net neutrality because we can just say, well, we just don't carry YouTube. Or if we're going to carry Krypton, it can't. If we're going to carry sci-fi, it's not going to interfere with what we already have in our business model.
I just think
even with net neutrality, device incompatibility is a far more frightening idea than even whether or not AT&T is going to let things flow through my web browser faster or slower.
I think it's all money. It's like, who's, Amazon's not going to pay somebody for this. Okay, we won't, they can't stream YouTube or whatever through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all money and rights and stuff.
Well, of course, it's all money. I mean, obviously, they're not doing this for free.
Yeah,
they're not doing this for their health. They're doing it because they want to make money on it.
Plus, now everyone's developing their own digital platforms, so it's like,
yeah, and nobody, and that's the thing, is like everyone's saying, well, net neutrality can hurt this thing about digital platforms, but no one's actually even asking who Amazon and Apple are going to let on their devices.
Yeah. Although I think they're not worried about that. If someone has a monopoly, I think they're worried about that. But yeah, with all the competition, they're like, oh, competition's good for the economy, and you don't have to choose only one or two choices.
But the thing is that hardware is far more insidious.
Yeah.
Because once I have this device, which I have now, I have my Fire Stick on my TV. I own that thing. You know what? I'm going to get rid of it just because I can't watch Krypton on the big screen. I have to watch it on my phone. Well, and you don't think about how these kind of things can snowball, because I got it expressly because we had just gotten our free month of Amazon Prime, and my son has an Echo. It's like, okay, we'll go with the Amazon because what the heck, it's an Amazon, and we'll go along with it. Had I gone with the Chromecast, I probably would be getting a better deal on what I have on my DirecTV now. This is my point.
It's probably, I mean, it's not as good as the TV, but have you tried going to the Sci-Fi's website? I'm sure they have a website online on your computer. I mean, it's not your TV, but I'm sure the screen's bigger than your phone. Well,
yeah, I'm sure I can do it. The thing is that if I'm going to watch it, I can just watch it on my phone, and it's like I said last week on Capes and Lunatics, the difference between the big screen and the small screen is literally this. But at the same time, there's a certain comfort of sitting in the big chair and not having to hold things and not having to lean over anything or do anything, and just having the remote. The remote is what I want from the big TV. That's my take on it. I'm not sure everyone agrees with me, but I do think this is a bigger fight for net neutrality than what actually goes through the wires. I think what goes through the wires, sure, it's important. Sure, it's going to have some thing on it. But the fact that you can't get YouTube on through Amazon, like there is not a YouTube app on Amazon, says that right there, Amazon is drawing a line in the sand for whatever reason, saying YouTube's content can't cross over to us. And everyone will say, well, yeah, you have to go through the Silk browser, and you can go to YouTube through the website. So yes, you can do all that. And probably there's probably an internet option on my TV through the Fire Stick that will let me get there. But the more hoops you have to put on it, the less likely it is that you're going to drive to it. That's the thing. And by restricting that kind of content, it does give Amazon a really unfair advantage in this market, because it gets to decide what gets to be an app, in the same way that Apple gets to decide. But Apple was always such a small portion of the market, nobody cared. Because they said, if you're dumb enough to buy an Apple product and dumb enough to be limited in what you can have on your product because you're using Apple's, my son wants an Apple so bad. So, but that's your problem. That's your problem as a person who's using this niche technology. Because Apple was very niche. It was very very curated. It was for hipsters.
I mean, they could make the same argument with your Kindle. They could be like, well, hey, you pick the Kindle. you know, if you wanted more, you should have done your homework and your research and looked at all those and decided what price was good for you, what options you want, you know.
Certainly. But the difference is that whereas Apples are cost prohibitive, Kindles are put out there, and Amazon puts their tech out there as everyman tech. It's just a bunch of tech you can get inexpensive, that is efficient and works. And you're giving, and here's what I'm going to say: it's not the end of the world that we're giving them that much power.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that this is the kind of power that isn't getting talked about. This is the kind of issues that really should freak people out way more than whether or not, like I said, AT&T is going to speed up or slow down your network. Because right now we've completely cut the cord. We're all AT&T. That's our cell phone, our Wi-Fi, everything is through AT&T right now. And AT&T is about to become a big owner of content. But the fact of the matter is that it's not in AT&T's interest to slow down my service. Because unlike hardware, a service like AT&T can be switched very easily. I can switch from AT&T to Boost Mobile, to T-Mobile, to Sprint. There's a lot of different over-the-air providers that I don't even need a cord to use.
Mm-hmm.
And once you move into that level, because let's face it, I already got my Amazon TV. You know, and I've already got all my devices. I can AT&T hub device. I can go to Sprint. They can put in a new chip in it, and now my hub device, which might even be a better network in my area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So AT&T's power on net neutrality is much less than Amazon's power or Google's power with the Chromecast or any other device's power once they have you locked into their hardware. That's my point.
All right, and my big question is, you're talking about the YouTube Red, and I watched the Cobra Kai trailer, and I saw it said YouTube Red. Now, I'm not too familiar with this, so is this YouTube's pay service then?
Yeah, this is YouTube's pay service. YouTube has a pay service now where you pay money, you go and you get that's where they have their exclusive content, which is, you know, generally speaking, it hasn't been that impressive. And even when you're looking at Cobra Kai, it looks cheaply made. It looks really cheaply made. And that is indicative of YouTube Red. It always looks really cheaply made. It's very low-cost productions. Basically iPhone productions, you know, stuff that could be shot on a camera, which is not on a phone, which is not what I'm looking for. But what I think Cobra Kai is going to have as a series and as a movie, I think it's a series. I don't know if it's a movie or a series, but I think it's a series.
I think it said series, yeah.
Yeah, what this is going to have is this is going to have what I think you find with the best things on YouTube or not on Netflix and Hulu and other things. So like you take something like Future Man, which is a show I'm really endorsing, or The Tick, or over on Netflix you have a series of unfortunate events. You have these series that sort of pull you in. And a series of unfortunate events isn't really a good example. I only think Netflix actually has a show like this where they get you in with some kind of wacky silliness, and then once you're there, they hit you with the feels. And I can very much see that Cobra Kai is going to be the kind of show that just hammers you with the feels. That it's going to be making you laugh at the silly, 80s nostalgia, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, poor guys from this movie from 40 years ago. You know, 40 years ago? Yeah, probably.
I think it said 34 or something. Yeah.
30, yeah. A long time ago. And so I think this could be the kind of thing that can get you into, that would get me into YouTube Red. That would get me to cross over if Kindle had a YouTube Red app.
Well, and enough people, they get a high profile thing like Cobra Kai, they get enough people to, pay for YouTube Red, then they can spend more money on the next project, Charlie. Because
well, exactly. Well, that's the idea, and that's how they get you. It's fascinating to me because we are on that Amazon Prime now, and what I noticed about Amazon Prime is it is very similar to what I saw early on in Netflix. Netflix used to have all these bad films.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could get them cheap and you could just put all this content on it. That's what Amazon Prime has a lot of. Amazon Prime has a lot of really bad content. And if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, it's great. There is a bunch of trauma films on there, on your Amazon Prime. And if you like trauma films, that's an option for you. So, there's a lot of gonzo films, a lot of crazy stuff on there. So that's a selling point for Amazon Prime. Netflix used to have that, but now that Netflix got enough subscribers, now they can have premium content, and they don't have that stuff as much because you just have limitations on how much data you can process through, and how much you have on your servers. That, I guess, is Amazon's advantage in its economy of scale, that you can have your thousands of B films on there, and they can be accessed by you because it really doesn't, because Amazon's already got the massive server farms, in theory. Anyway, but that's Cobra Kai, and I'm very excited by Cobra Kai. I think it is going to look good. I think it could be a real hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I got the feel from that I kind of got. The difference is, and here's what I'll say is the main difference, is that when I was watching Future Man, it just, Hulu just kept on recommending Future. We think you'll like Future Man. We think you'll like Future Man. I said, okay, fine. I'll watch your dang Future Man.
Yeah.
So watch Future Man. And, and at the start, it's actually not, it's okay. It's like, oh, funny, wacky, silly. And then all of a sudden, as the story progresses, it hits you with the feels. Now, with Cobra Kai, I'm getting the feels from the trailer, which could tell me that the feels that it might not be as good as I hope it would be, because they put all the feels in the trailer, and then when you actually get to the show, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, that was all the good stuff was in the trailer. So that's a possibility. I don't know. What are you doing? You keep on flipping like in and out on here. Am I boring you?
No, I'm trying to get the dang bar to work.
Oh, bar is never gonna work.
I know.
Yeah,
Google. Yeah, but they have the monopoly on the bar.
Yeah, well, this amazing free device service they've given us, it's not nearly nice enough. First world problems. But it's like having to watch Krypton on your dang phone when you want it on your TV.
Thoughts on Krypton, but
Oh, you didn't like it?
I did. We'll get into it tomorrow, but I did like it. But there's like nothing. Except for a couple S's and a red cape, it really doesn't scream DC Comics to me. It's like just like another futuristic sci-fi channel show,
Yeah, well, it is.
But again, it's only been one episode.
Yeah. And in truth, one thing I'm going to say is that's great for me because I'm not a huge DC fan.
Maybe that's on purpose, yeah.
Well, what it is there's enough in it for me as a non-DC fan that I get all the DC thing. My biggest thing is why are the L's the only people that wear capes? And why is only Granddad the only guy wearing it? No one else is wearing this cape. But he's like walking in with this big red cape. It's like, this guy's got a lot of ostentation because no one else is wearing a cape.
The flamboyant House of L,
Yeah, well, it just makes you wonder if maybe great grandpa was a little bit of an eccentric, and like Superman with those blue tights and the red cape, everyone's like, oh yeah, we can tell you're from the House of L.
Well, seriously,
definitely an L.
Superman wears like those like red and blue tights and stuff. Anytime you see another Kryptonian, like General Zod's always like in black, like a military uniform.
Yeah, and even if you go back to like the old Silver Age ones, they were wearing green or red. They weren't wearing ridiculous outfits or fabulous outfits, depending on your perspective. Yeah, so that was interesting in that. But yeah, and everyone else on Krypton wears very drab clothing. But even Grandpa was, we're all drab, but had to have the cape. Got to have the cape, man. What I thought, and this is like just in the first few minutes of it, so I don't really consider it a spoiler. I thought, man, Krypton was really out cold prior to the discovery of the Phantom Zone. Because it's like, oh, it's like you're being sentenced. We're not going to send you to the Phantom Zone. We're just going to drop you
off a cliff. I know.
That's the method of, like, not even like lethal injection, not even an electric chair. No, we're just going to drop you.
Well, I mean, their whole culture is always like an evolving process. Because like they were even saying, like they were doing the whole John Byrne, they can, they did very clinical ways of conceiving a child. They're like, oh, you remember? They're like, oh, remember back in the, I can't believe our ancestors actually carried children in their wombs and stuff,
Yeah. Yep. That's weird. Oh, yeah. I mean, but we know Krypton was going to be a weird place going in. So that it continues to be weird shouldn't really surprise us that much. But another show that we got a new trailer for is Cloak and Dagger.
Yes.
It is happening over there on Freeform. And it's interesting because I'm really interested to see what our actual origin of Cloak and Dagger will be, because from what they're giving us, it seems almost like a quasi-mystical origin. As opposed to being, superpowered drugs gone wrong, I'm going to be very fascinated to see what their actual origin is going to be. We assume it's going to have something to do with Roxxon. And I hope we get some kind of reference to Zero Matter. And some of the stuff we saw from Agent Carter. And since they were developed at the same time.
And I just watched the trailer a couple minutes before we started. So it's set in New Orleans then, and not New York?
It seems to be, yeah. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock to me, too.
I just wonder if they're doing that so, they have an excuse for why they're not running into Avengers or the team up I'd like to see, the MCU character I'd like to see them team up with, especially since he's closer to their age now than ever before, is Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would be great. I mean, of course, then you also got to work through your Fox. So there's a whole other layer there.
Sony, yeah.
Yeah, Sony. I always get Sony and Fox mixed up. Sony's got the one thing, one thing everybody wants, and we can't get it back. Unless Disney buys Sony.
Well, unless we get that your dream crossover with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, well, I'd love to see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on it. Here's what I'll say about it's interesting to me that we do have this separation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel television universe, that we do seem to be getting this separation between what we see in the movies and what we see on the TV shows, even the Netflix shows. But I do wonder if they really are as separate as they seem, or if it is just the reality that, New York City is a big place. It's not like that Chitauri are invading every week. And, if Daredevil wanted to join the Avengers, I'm sure he could have. And the fact of the matter is, it's entirely possible that Tony Stark was looking at Daredevil as well, but maybe felt that, Spider-Man was the better character, the better guy for recruitment.
I mean, Spider-Man does have like the superhuman strength and the agility. I mean, Daredevil's basically a normal guy, except his senses are enhanced.
Yes, and of course, Daredevil hasn't been caught on YouTube yet.
True. And I'm just thinking, I wonder if
it might be harder to find.
I wonder if the movie people are like, it's hard to, look at what we're doing with Infinity War. It's hard enough that with juggling all these different franchises just on the movie side, it'll be a little harder bringing in the TV stuff too, especially when there's different people in charge over there. Because I know even like those CW crossovers, they say, man, it's brutal, bringing all 4 shows in and, linking everybody up.
although I get the feeling that maybe one of the main reasons that they've decided to seemingly set a lot of Infinity War in Wakanda. That, aside from the fact that it's a little easier to shoot, substitute New Zealand for Wakanda than it is to substitute New Zealand for New York City. I think that it makes for a easier place where you have like a nice big open field to have your battles in, rather than having to do New York City.
Well, it looks like I don't know if there's gonna be like two different storylines, because it looks like you get Tony Stark and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man in New York, and then Cap's team and Black Panther and everyone in Wakanda.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of possibilities there. We know that they're looking for the Infinity Stones. We know that's, and the idea is that maybe one of the Infinity Stones is in Wakanda. Although that's we know one of the Infinity Stones is in New York.
Yeah.
The Eye of Agamotto is in New York, so.
Well, and everyone's looking for the soul, because the Soul Stone hasn't shown up yet. So I've seen so many all these speculations like, does it have to do with Tony Stark? Does it have to do with Captain Marvel? Yeah.
No, the Soul Stone is the stone that Thanos already has. Just like it is so. Thanos has to have at least one stone already, because he's throwing this, because he gave Loki a stone. He's not going to give Loki a stone if he doesn't already have a stone. He's like, here, take the one thing that is the most precious to me in the universe, Loki. You're the god of what again? Yeah, go ahead, take that, take my stone, and you go give me another one, right? You're going to do that for me, Loki? You're not gonna double cross me now, are you, Loki? I gotta believe that Thanos is not that gullible. I gotta believe that. That he had to have at least one stone already, because not for nothing, the stones are really freaking powerful. If he's gonna let Loki, because I can imagine Loki talking Thanos into letting him borrow an Infinity Stone, but only if Thanos already has an Infinity Stone, so he's not worried about Loki saying, "And now I have the power of an Infinity Stone." Because really, it's the story of Atlas and Hercules, where Atlas tells Hercules, just hold the sky for me for one moment, and then I just need to stretch, and then I'll take it back from you. And of course, as soon as Hercules takes it, Atlas is like, "Ha, sucker! You're gonna hold the sky forever now." And then Hercules is like, "Oh, I wish you told me that. I would have gotten a better grip on my back. Could you just hang on 1 second so I can just get a better thing on my back?" And Atlas is like, "Oh, okay." Atlas is not the smartest guy, but neither was Hercules. So it's the dumb leading the dumb. But yeah, I gotta think that Thanos isn't at that Hercules Atlas level. He's a little bit above that, and isn't just going to give his one Infinity Stone to Loki. But yeah, so we know. So as far as the Infinity Stones go, we know that there's one with the Collector, one at Nova headquarters, one that Loki has because it's no longer in his shield vault.
One's in the Vision's head.
One's in the Vision's head. One's in the Eye of Agamotto. So that's 5 stones. It's 6 stones?
Yeah, 6 stones, yeah.
So the Soul Stone has to be the one that Thanos already has. And it's got to be a pretty, BA stone, because it's the Soul Stone can rip the soul out of your body. So that's cool. And also because it keeps them from having to, deal with the Soul Stone. Now, what'll be interesting is, because all the Avengers know where all the other stones are, and we know the Collector has one. We've seen one other Elder of the Universe in the Grand Master. I wonder if we're going to get the other Elders of the Universe in this, and they're going to be trying to get their hands on the stones as well.
Maybe.
And I think that's what happens to the stones at the end, because the Elders of the Universe where you can trust us. Yeah. It's a possibility, but yeah. But Cloak and Dagger looks good. I'm interested in what they're going to do with it. I'm very excited for it to come out. But before that, we get Infinity War, and and then the other thing that we found out is that apparently they're saying not this one, but the next one.
Yeah.
Captain America's last jaunt.
Chris Evans, yeah. Well, we've been talking about this the last couple of days, but I was just thinking, is this even just Chris Evans saying, hey, my contract's up, is this contract posturing?
One of three things. One is, yes, just totally contract posturing, where he's just like, yeah, guess you're just not going to have Cap anymore, and maybe it's time for me to move on. So everyone goes, no, Cap, we love you. Unfortunately for Chris, everyone's like, oh, cool. Will it be Bucky or will it be Falcon? It should be Bucky. It should be Falcon. It should be Sharon Carter.
Well, I said, what about Black Widow?
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think anyone else wielding the shield makes any sense. Although there's a completely other argument to be made, which is that no one wields the shield because that shield was stolen from Wakanda. That shield is.
I'm saying, whether it's Chris Evans or Sebastian Stan or Anthony Mackie, maybe at the end of one of these movies, Black Panther, gives his blessing for someone to use the shield.
Well, actually, there is, it's an interesting thing. Everyone says that, the shield must have been stolen from Wakanda. And actually, not necessarily. There's a huge amount of vibranium in Wakanda. That doesn't mean that's the only vibranium on the planet.
That's the biggest source. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's the biggest source. But people might have found vibranium in these, when Tony Stark is talking about vibranium, he's saying there's not more than, a couple of pounds of this stuff throughout the entire planet.
Yeah.
And we made it a Frisbee. And so I'm trying to say, only so much in the universe. Oh, but here, we made a cute little shield out of it. Yeah. Because that's a practical use of the only vibranium in all the world. But it's entirely possible it's vibranium that was from somewhere else, elsewhere in Africa. Because not for nothing, a meteor falls, it's going to leave debris.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to leave debris all over the planet. If nothing else, it's going to burn up a little in the atmosphere, and you're going to get little bits of vibranium every here and there. Some of it might even be in Antarctica. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or other vibranium meteors that have hit the Earth at other times. Because I'm sure all the vibranium in all the universe isn't all in Wakanda.
Exactly.
So I don't think Cap's shield was actually stolen from Wakanda. I think that that's just how rare this vibranium was.
But yeah, I mean, if they do kill off Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, I'm thinking they're giving the shield to Bucky. I think they've planted clues in the trailer already, because there's the part where Bucky's running through the Wakandan jungle or whatever. I saw someone speculating that's the same scene where Steve Rogers is holding Thanos back. That Bucky's running to come help him. If Steve Rogers dies, that's going to be him going. He has to pick up that shield, 1, to redeem himself, from his days as the Winter Soldier, and 2, that's his penance for not saving Steve.
Yeah, the only problem is that Cap doesn't have the shield. Tony Stark has the shield. Because that's his dad's shield, as he says.
Well, in the comics, right after everyone thought Cap was dead, Stark had the shield, and Bucky basically broke in, and Tony Stark had this letter for basically Steve Rogers' will saying, "Hey, take care of Bucky. Send him on the right path." And Tony Stark was like, "Hey, you know what? Let me kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Give him the shield."
I mean, it's entirely possible. My thing on first off, I don't think Cap actually dies. I don't think Steve Rogers actually dies.
Mm-hmm.
I think far more likely is
Tony Stark.
I don't think Tony Stark necessarily dies either. Not for nothing. There's always also the possibility that they just recast Captain America.
True.
They
But
I mean,
they're making a big deal about somebody's gonna die, and I think I even saw something yesterday.
Who said someone's going to die?
I see all these rumors. I mean, you never know.
Yeah. You see the internet.
I know.
Saying
but
someone's gonna die since the first Avengers film.
But I mean, supposedly,
and not even Coulson died.
supposedly, I don't know if it was the writers or directors, but supposedly some of the storytellers for this movie were saying, "Oh yeah, Disney gave us basically free reign. They basically told us we could kill off whoever we wanted."
Yeah, and I'm sure they.
Which,
First off, yes.
Which I don't think they're going to kill off Black Widow because she's getting her own solo movie.
Well, okay. So a couple points. Yes, first off, I'm sure they always have carte blanche to kill whoever they want because it's a movie.
Yeah, but but I think if you want to kill off like a Robert Downey Jr., there's big discussions going on.
Well, yeah, because Robert Downey Jr. costs a lot of money. But and the more Robert Downey Jr. costs, the more likely it is they're going to say, "Let's kill him this movie."
That's why. That's what my big thing is. Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's possible that they could. It's like this: they killed off the Warriors 3, but aside from hurting me personally, they weren't really doing anything with the Warriors 3.
Yeah,
they may kill off.
Charles, are you there?
So finally kill off. The idea that one of the heroes is going to die, to me, just seems unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you're much more likely to see the Vision get destroyed than anyone else die. In fact, I would say Vision getting torn apart. Basically, who's likely to die is Vision. Vision is likely to be torn apart and little bits of gears flying everywhere.
Oh, maybe they tear him apart and they bring him back all white.
Okay.
Like they did in around.
No, I know.
Right
yeah,
Acts of Vengeance. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to save some money on coloring.
Well, basically they can alter his appearance and basically personality traits. So I'm because he's basically Jarvis in a body. You could basically use that to cut his ties to his past as Jarvis.
Yeah, well, you can do they can do, like I said, of all the people that are likely to die, quote unquote, in Avengers, I would say Vision is the most likely, just because he has all of the earmarks of one of the kind of characters that they tend to kill off, which is, known to the fans, but maybe not with that much history in the franchise, and also maybe one that we can get some nice tear jerks from, because, he's got a relationship with Scarlet Witch.
Exactly.
And we all want another scene where she goes, "No!" and starts, shooting pink lasers at everyone. Because,
Well, you talked about Warriors 3. What if they kill off Loki? What if Loki's like, basically does like his first good act and like trying to save somebody or save the world, and they goes out in a blaze of glory?
Anything's possible. I mean, here's the thing: anyone dying in this movie can be brought back in the next.
True, that was my other thought too. It's like, did you read that original Infinity Gauntlet miniseries? I mean, Thanos basically makes half the population of the universe disappear. Spoiler alerts. I mean, he kills most of the superheroes, and they all get resurrected at the end. So,
yeah, including Cap.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cap gets blinked out of existence, and that's the thing. Is whatever they do, they can undo, and
because that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if they're going to pull one of those where they kill off like half the Avengers, but then next one they'll bring them back.
Exactly. So what exactly they're going to do, we don't really know. What's going to happen, we don't really know, and whether or not here's what I'll say is it's going to be interesting. Whatever it's going to be. And, it would be neat if there is something more to it than just the movies. I would love if we do get some kind of reference somewhere to, even if it's, what would be great is just have an acknowledgement of the other characters in the Marvel universe. Like, just like a newspaper with that, that you have to like pause and like zoom in to see, that's just like Devils of Hell's Kitchen or something, like, something like that, or, Rumble in Harlem, or one of those guys who or had that guy. You know what I would love? The guy from Luke Cage who's selling the video of all the superhero fights. I would love if he's there. It's like, oh, this is just have him there. It's like, oh, this is gonna be my best one yet. Just have him recording that. That's going to be amazing.
Oh my god! I could just see the headline now. Sweet Christmas! Luke Cage breaks super-powered street gang or something.
Yeah, who knows? But just something subtle like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still hoping to get Fitz or Simmons somewhere in all this,
At least bring Coulson in,
Yeah, well, Coulson, man, there's lots of cool characters we'd love to see. But I think Fitz and Simmons are the ones that are like the easiest to sort of plant somewhere else,
Yeah, but I mean, just from the big role Coulson played in the first Avengers movie, bring him, maybe bring him back, maybe have him be the catalyst for bringing Cap and Iron Man back together.
Well, there was something I remember, and I'm trying to remember where I read it, that either at the end of the seasons of S.H.I.E.L.D., they were going to say what the status of Coulson was as far as the Avengers, like whether or not the Avengers knew Coulson was alive or not. I think I read that somewhere. And here's what I'll say about that. I think most of the Avengers already know. Because we know from the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that knowing Coulson was alive required that level 7 clearance when he goes to when he tells what was his name, the bad guy, Ward. He tells Ward, welcome to level 7. And if you look, that Cap and Black Widow both had level 7 clearance, so they probably already knew. And of course we remember that Coulson was just walking around the Triskelion like it was like a Tuesday. So
or I mean, unless it's like a secret, Captain America doesn't know, and he's, he says the Stark, he's like, this is another thing you kept from me, No.
I honestly think the only one who doesn't know is Tony.
Maybe.
I honestly think that everyone, because I think Thor would know, because Heimdall would know, and Lady Sif knows. Lady Sif already knows.
Thor's been off the planet for like 2 years.
Yeah, but it's like, but he's been off the planet in Asgard and whatnot. And I'm sure
Heimdall told him.
Yeah, Heimdall told him. I was like, yeah, cool. I'm sure everyone knows except for Tony. Tony would be like,
son of Cool is alive.
Yeah, I can totally imagine that, and I can totally imagine, Tony being really annoyed. How am I the only one who didn't know this? It's like, well, you don't have clearance, You're in the private sector. Everyone else, is a god
you thought his first name was Agent.
Yes, well, exactly. And, yeah, so, but that's my thing. But, or they all know, I mean, if nothing else, we know that Maria Hill worked for Tony Stark after the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. And when we see her, she's taking a lie detector test. So, not that she couldn't probably totally fool a lie detector test,
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it'll be interesting. Who knows what's going to happen with Avengers and Coulson. But, I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about this week, Phil?
Do you want to do Thor, or do you want to wait till the morning?
We can wait till the morning. I mean, if you really want to talk about it right now, we can, or we can leave it for the morning and talk all our comic books with Lilith.
No, I mean, yeah, we could talk it tomorrow. Thor, and then Tales of Suspense was pretty good with.
Yes, I have to read that one still.
Yeah,
I gotta
read it.
I gotta find my lockjaw. I haven't finished it yet, and then I think someone picked it up and cleaned. I hate when people clean on my house.
And did you read Damnation #3?
Yes, I did. Very good. Right. I really enjoyed that.
Right. We're gonna talk all that tomorrow. Yeah, Sue. Yes. Capes and Lunatics. If you're on YouTube tomorrow, 9 a.m.
Yep. Okay, and hey, I gotta give us our outro. So, Phil, if people would like to reach out to you, talk to you, find out what you think of all of this, how can they find you?
If you want to get a hold of me, you can email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And of course, you can always email the Capes and Lunatics, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. We're on Twitter @CapesLunatics, and our other podcast, the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks @CL Sidekicks, and the voicemail for all 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-Capes.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Maz and Paz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter. Says I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Krypton, if I can stay awake for it. Just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if I can stay awake for it. If I can stay awake for any of these shows that are all on so late nowadays.
Yeah, Krypton's worse. It's 10 p.m.
I know. It's like, oh, man. But you can at least follow me and see me live tweet the first 15 minutes of these shows before I fall asleep. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Thank you for connecting with us once again. Ladies and gentlemen, please super connect with us once again. Good night.
Good night.
Got the best theme songs. Good old stock music.
I was going to say, we're at least as good as Cobra Kai, huh?
Yeah. Face kick. An illegal face kick.
Illegal face kick.